Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to tear into the technical story behind Rigetti Computing, that's ticker RGTI. We're going to unpack its absolutely incredible run, check the pulse on its trend, and most importantly, map out the key levels that could tell us where it's headed next.
Okay, let's just jump right in with a big picture, because you gotta see this. RGTI's 52-week journey. We're talking about a stock that went from about 80 cents to over $58. I mean, come on, that's not just a rally, that is a rocket ship. And that rise really sets the stage for everything else we're about to dig into.
So that massive range tells us a story, right? A story of a really powerful uptrend. Let's figure out where the stock is right now, on the map of its own incredible journey.
Right now, it's trading pretty close to its yearly peak. Being this close to the high, well, it just confirms what we already suspected. This has been a seriously strong performer, and the bulls have absolutely been running the show for most of the year.
Okay, but how do we actually measure the health of this trend? I mean, a stock can go up, sure, but is it running on full power or is it maybe getting a little tired? To figure that out, we gotta look for some specific clues in the data.
So look at this number, 63.66. What is that? That's the ADX score. Just think of the ADX as a power meter for a trend. Anything over 25 is strong. Anything over 50, that's extremely strong. So at 63.66, this trend has some serious muscle behind it. No doubt about it.
And this brings us to a really crucial point. There's always a but, right? While that underlying trend is incredibly powerful, if you look at the most recent price action, it's kind of showing signs of a little pause. It's like a sprinter who's been going flat out and now they're just catching their breath. The big question is, are they about to take off again, or is this the end of the race? And this table really tells a tale of two different trends. See, the current price has actually dipped below its super short-term 5-day average. But, and this is a big but, it is still miles above its long-term 200-day foundation, which is way down at about 15 bucks. That right there, that's the tension we're seeing in the stock right now.
All right, so let's switch gears and talk about momentum. Is the stock still accelerating, or is somebody hitting the brakes? These are the tools that are going to help us gauge the real force behind the price moves.
First up, we're going to look at something called the Money Flow Index, or MFI. You can think of it as a cousin to the RSI, but it also factors in volume, which is super important. It basically tracks buying and selling pressure to see if the so-called smart money is flowing in or heading for the exits. RGTI's MFI is at 76. Now that tells us there's still a lot of buying pressure. It's high, it's bullish, for sure. But it's not quite in that extreme overbought zone, which usually kicks in above 80. So what that suggests is that there might still be some room to run before things get too overheated.
And it's a similar story with the MACD, which is a classic momentum tool. I mean, look at this. It's bullish signals across the board. But you got to look closely at that last number, the MACD momentum. See that negative value? That's the key detail. It's telling us that while momentum is still positive, that upward thrust is slowing down. You know, the car is still moving forward, but the driver's foot is definitely easing off the gas pedal.
Okay, so we've got the trend, we've got the momentum. Now let's get practical. Let's map out the critical price levels. The battlegrounds between the buyers and sellers that are probably going to decide what happens next.
This is honestly the best way to picture it. Just imagine the stock price is trapped inside a room. You've got a ceiling of resistance above it and a floor of support below it. If it can break through that ceiling, wow, there could be a lot of open space above. But if it falls through the floor, well, it could be a long way down. Right now, it's just bouncing around inside that room.
And here are the exact numbers for that room. The stock is right around $46.38, so it's floating just above its pivot point. Think of that as the center of gravity for recent trading. It's really in a tight spot, squeezed between that floor at $43.94 and the ceiling at $48.54. Its next big move is probably going to depend on which one of those levels breaks first.
So, let's put it all together. We've got a strong trend, but we've got some weakening momentum, and we've got a very clear set of price levels. With all that evidence, we can actually map out the two most likely scenarios for RGTI.
This pretty much lays out the playbook for you. The bullish story gets going if the price can really punch through that $48.54 ceiling. If that happens, it could signal the uptrend is back on, and it might even go retest its old highs. On the flip side, the bearish case starts if it breaks down through that floor at $43.94. A break there could mean a much deeper correction is on the way.
But there's always a third option, isn't there? The stock might not pick a direction right away.
It's totally possible it just moves sideways for a bit, staying inside that room we talked about, just kind of building up energy before it makes its next big, decisive move.
So, at the end of the day, this is the big question, right? We've got this powerful, long-term engine, but we're seeing clear signs of short-term fatigue. Is this just a quick pit stop to refuel before the next leg up, or is the engine about to stall out completely? Keeping a close eye on those support and resistance levels we just mapped out, that's what's going to give us the answer.